Hello, I'm Josh Boker, and you're watching, say it with me, The Raspberry Report. Today, we're not doing an album review. That's coming down the pipe soon. I thought I'd have some fun and try something new. So, I'm just getting my phone here. So apparently, and either this is something that's just like easy to miss, or I'm just a bumbling idiot. This is apparently on Spotify. There are charts. There's charts that track what the hottest albums are, what the hottest songs are that are currently streaming on the music subscription service. These charts are divided by like worldwide or by country. And today I thought it'd be fun to go through some of the songs on the top songs of the USA chart. 50 songs that are currently hot right now. I don't know what distinguishes them as like currently hot and like how the rankings work, but I'm assuming it depends on how many streams they're having currently, not like all-time streams, because that would be a lot different, I feel. But apparently that's what it is. And I'd like to go through a few of these songs, listen to them, and share my thoughts right after. Will I like them? Will I not like them? Like, how do I feel about them? And so on. And going through the list here, there is like a disappointing lack of variety. There's a lot of songs that are like by the same artist. So like, I don't want to go through like 10 Drake songs or like 10 Lil Nas X songs or 10 Doja Cat songs. That would be boring. That would be pretty boring. So I'm going to pick a few songs, here and there by different artists. Most of these I've just never heard before, so that'll be interesting. It'll be different. It'll be fun. And so I might be a little negative on some of these tracks, to be honest. Haven't heard them yet, so I can't say, but I might be a little negative. Just so you know, I'm not like trying to be super harsh, trying to attack the artist or the song. I mean, you should know that by now. Let's go. First off, we have Industry Baby by Lil Nas X and Jack Harlow. Now, this track I actually have heard before, so I've heard it many times, actually. This is like one of the lead singles off of his new album, Montero, his debut album. Let's go. Okay, so knowing that I've heard this many times, I love this song. This is it's so fun, so vibrant, so like punchy. The production is immense and wonderful, and the tune itself is fantastic, full of personality. And I gotta say, Lil Nas X's performance is just fantastic. Bombastic, just really confident, really in your face, and really funny too, and great. And it's a really just triumphant tune as well. It's just full of energy, full of positivity. Love it. Jack Harlow, who I haven't really heard much, I don't think I've really heard a song from him before. He has a pretty good performance on this track too. He's pretty charming, pretty charismatic. He's pretty funny too, and I think it's a good solid guest performance. It doesn't take anything away from the track. By the way, that was the number one track of the moment. And now at number 2, which was at number 1, now it's at number 2, is Way Too Sexy, featuring Future and Young Thug, and by Drake. We're going to start off the Drake train early. We're going to rip the Band-Aid off, as I'd like to say. And let's listen to this track. Okay, where do I start? This entire track is really just the chorus, it seems like. Is this even a Drake song? It sounds like a Future song, judging by how the majority of the track, Future is just taking the lead. I feel like I've barely heard Drake on the track. I heard him like in the beginning of the song, But after that, it's really just Future saying he's too sexy for his shirt. Young Thug's appearance actually isn't bad. I think, I guess it wasn't bad. I don't know, but wow. The production is very basic, very just run-of-the-mill. You've heard it before. That's kind of why I steer away from a lot of hip-hop and rap that is popular. And not say it's a bad thing, but I try, I don't want to be that guy, but just a lot of it is really bland to me, and a lot of it is really just run-of-the-mill, basic, and uninteresting to me. A lot of the rap I generally am interested in, the production is a really key focal point to me. If the production's not good, then I'm not going to care for it, most likely. And, the production's got to be interesting, it's got to be unique, it's got to have personality, and this doesn't have it. It's trying way too hard to be funny. Enough of that. We're not doing any more Drake. Okay, number 3, Stay, by the Kid Laroi. Is that how you say it? And Justin Bieber. I have not heard this song. I don't know who the Kid Laroi is. Not sure who that is. But Justin Bieber? I know the Biebs. Let's try this track. It's called Stay. I thought it was all right. I thought it was okay, but really not a lot of personality on this track. The instrumental sounds like a straight up just rip from like Blinding Lights, After Hours, The Weeknd, 80s pop tropes that all the bigger names are kind of riding on right now, like this wave that people are riding on, and doesn't really bring anything new. The majority of the time, I couldn't tell who was singing the parts. Like, I couldn't tell if it was Justin or this kid named Leroy. Moving on. Let's go. Let's speed it up a bit, if you will. Now, next track is at number 6. It's called Heat Waves is the track. Glass Animals is the band. Okay, that's enough of that. Okay, I'm pretty bummed. This is like really, really drab. It's disappointingly bland. Like, this is very, very... I instantly think of when I hear like the singing and the chorus that he repeats over and over and over. Really reminds me of like the early 2000s or 90s like boy bands, like Backstreet Boys and Sync, New Kids on the Block. That's what I think of when I think of this track, but with like trap beats on top. Even the instrumental, it's very like, like I just have a very sour taste in my mouth, if you will. Yeah, so disappointing. I think the vocals very basic. They're so there. They're just there. I can't like pick it out from a crowd. And the instrumental is very, very boring. And not only boring, but just it's annoying. It's annoyingly sweet. Disappointing. This is not like quirky or unique or like off the wall at all. Like I remembered some of the tracks they've had in the past. Really disappointed. Disappointing that of all kind of this, like the indie bands that have blown up, it's this one and it's this track. We're going to do a track at number 9 by Olivia Rodrigo, Good For You. Now, I've actually heard this song. Of course, I'm aware of it. How can I escape it? But apparently I escaped some of the other tracks. But this track I have heard before. Kind of like as in the background, I haven't really like focused and paid attention to the track itself. Okay. This track is pretty great. I'm not going to lie. For like the top of the charts, radio, like billboards or Billboard 100, whatever the frick it's called. This is pretty good. It's pretty tasteful. I love the pop rock revival. I think it's really fun, really cheery. I think she's got a lot of personality on this track as well. It's very Avril Lavigne, very Paramore, like very Misery Business. I would approach like pushing it a little too far to where it's like borderline, like I'd say over the border, ripping it off. But rip off aside, it's pretty fun, really colorful. It's not too corny. The instrumental is not like cheesy or dated, while like it throws back to those elements of like early 2000s pop punk and pop rock, and alternative rock, whatever it is. And while bringing in these modern tropes too, it's really cool, really like it, really refreshing listen, and really like this song. Super fun. Really enjoy it. I know I heard a couple of her songs in the past. Next up is this track I've actually heard. It is Family Ties by Baby Keem featuring Kendrick Lamar. Wow. So Family Ties, I have heard it like once or twice before listening to this. And listening to it a third time definitely grew on me a lot more. Especially when like focusing on it a lot more than I did the previous times. First off, love the production. I think it's super fun, it's not like clean or like perfect. It's a little messy, it's a little rough around the edges. Same with the performances themselves by both like Baby Keem and his cousin Kendrick. But rough as they are, and as silly as they are, they're very entertaining, super fun, and full of charisma. Like, love it or hate it. It's a lot more interesting than some of the rap I heard earlier talking about Drake. But this is definitely great. Kendrick's performance is solid despite his demeanor, his accent's really definitely something to behold. And Baby Keem's like high-pitched vocals isn't for everyone, but it's definitely something I definitely enjoy with the track, and it's really fun. Some really funny lines on it. I actually really enjoy this track. I think it's great. Definitely the production and the beat switch ups throughout the track. I want to say there were several beat switch ups, which was really cool. Especially in like a popular track like this is. I think it's pretty sweet. And Need to Know by Doja Cat, which is at number 11 on the list. Let's go. It was actually pretty decent. I honestly thought the instrumental was very pretty and atmospheric. I thought I've heard a couple of Doja Cat songs in the past, and I'm not really that familiar, to be honest, but from what I've heard, it sounds nice. I feel like it doesn't really sound like extremely unique or anything. I feel like she hasn't really found her voice just by judging those few songs I've heard. Really sounds like she's trying to be like different artists, like her voice reminisces, to me anyway, reminds me of like Christina Aguilera or like Gwen Stefani or like Nicki Minaj as well. It's not bad. It's not bad. So let's go. Next up, we're going with the Ed Sheeran here. I actually have not heard these singles before. There's a couple on here. I'm just going to pick one. I'm just going to pick the one that's higher, Shivers. Let's check it out. I feel like with each new record or each new like album cycle, we get a more bland and vapid Ed Sheeran. And this track is just, I feel like my brain is just mush. It's numb. I'm numb. I'm kind of struggling to find words just because it's so it kind of gives me a headache. The instrumental, sickening. The singing is sickening. The mixing is awful. It's so just drenched with like high gloss production, and the guitars are there, but they're kind of nowhere to be found. Yeah, what happened to the coffee house dude that made Lego House. I actually found those tracks to be kind of likable. Like there was definitely like a personality there, even though it's nothing like, amazing or anything. Ooh, now this one I've been wanting to listen to. This is I haven't heard the whole thing, but of course, like obviously, like I've heard some of it. Well, maybe not so obvious, but I have heard some of it. It's Fancy Like by Walker Hayes. This is like a new track. It's like a country hip hop crossover hit. Get off my ears. 2.5 minutes is rough stuff. When I first heard this, I was like, this has to be like, it just sounds like a commercial. Like it just sounds like a company has created this to promote, their food. Applebee's, like obviously, with the chorus, Fancy Like Applebee's, on a date night or whatever. I first heard this, I was watching football and it was on an Applebee's commercial, and I was like, oh, it's just a song that, companies write, or they hire ad agencies or what have you to create them for the commercial. No, this is a legit song by a country artist, and this wasn't a commercial before, but it is though. So yeah, this is the most like lowest common denominator, like the most vapid thing I've heard. It's funny, but it's like funny in a very like, my brain's fried. There's no defending this. I can't listen to anyone defending this track. I don't know how you could defend it unless you're the CEO of Applebee's or Wendy's too. Or Wendy's, apparently. I didn't hear that part of the track before. Okay, so thanks for the one person that decided to watch the whole thing. I had a good time, despite some of the tracks I didn't care for. I had a good time listening to these and checking them out because, hey man, why not? So thanks for tuning in. God bless everyone. And